Hi, Charlie Kasorik, Jack Bench Woodworking, and today I am going to show you one of the most useful tricks that you could ever have. And what I'm going to show you is how to paint grain onto your pieces to make repairs. And you know, there's a lot of ways that you can fix your mistakes or whatever you want to call them, but you know, like you can replace a, you can take a piece of wood and you can, you know, patch it in a similar piece of grain. But there are many, many times when that just won't work. And this is a great example of that. This is a tray that I'm making for a jewelry box. And this was constructed by using veneer that's laminated around, well, into a form anyway. It's laminated into an ellipse. And so I had two pieces of veneer and I laminated them. Actually, it was four pieces, one this side, one this side. And so they had to come together to be the exact size and the exact length, and it all had to be perfect. Well, anytime you're butting two pieces of wood together, it's tough to get it perfect, and especially in this circumstance. So you can see on here, for example, there's a black glue line where these two pieces of veneer came together. And you know, I can't just patch a new piece of burl in to make it match. I have to mask it over somehow. And I use acrylic paints for that. So I'm going to put this in my vise. And I'll explain to you what kind of paints I use and how I mix them in the brushes now. So there are a few primary colors that you would use when you're trying to match wood. You have burnt sienna, raw sienna, yellow ochre, I think that's how you pronounce it, burnt umber, and there should be a raw umber. Yes, raw umber. So raw umber, burnt umber, raw sienna, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and then I will use, so I'll use these typically in some combination to get the color to match. And then it's either too light or too dark. And then I'll add either black or white onto this to get the, you know, the right brightness. I'm not a color expert, but this is just a trick that I've learned how to do through years of practice. For brushes, I had bought this set of micro brushes on Amazon, and it was basically garbage. I cannot recommend this particular set. So what I did, I went to Michael's and I hand-picked out a couple of little tiny brushes and then a few that I had laying around. So just the smallest, tiniest brushes I could find. This one is an 18-aught. So these are measured just like scroll saw blades. You know, the bigger the number, the more aughts, the smaller it is. So this is an 18-aught. This is a 10-aught. This is a number 1, which would be the smallest before you get into the aughts. And this is a 3-aught, and then this is something I probably won't use today. As far as the colors, I'll put a link in the description of this video to some Amazon, you know, affiliate type links. If you wanted to see the list of these colors, I'll have links in the description for that. But I can't recommend any of the Amazon brushes just because I haven't personally encountered any that I thought were very good. So how I do this is, I've got a little plastic palette here, and I don't always use it. Sometimes just a paper plate works better for a palette. And something else I need to tell you, it's really important on this. I already put a finish on this, at least the first couple of coats of a finish. And there's two reasons that you want to make sure you put a finish on before you start trying to match any colors. Number one, the color will change when you put a finish on it. Everybody knows that. When you put the finish on, the color changes a little bit, or a lot. So you have to have a finish on to know exactly what color it is you're going to match. And the other reason is that I don't want this acrylic paint will absorb into the wood. And you don't want it to absorb in the wood. I want to be able to come in here, put a little test on here. If it's wrong, I just rub it off. And I can do that, well, maybe not indefinitely, but I can do that many, many, many times without causing a problem until I get the color just right. So it's a little bit of practice, trial and error to get this. So one other thing on the paints, I started out, I always bought these little 80-cent bottles of craft paint at big box stores or, you know, Menards or Walmart or wherever. And then I sprung for the more expensive bottle of golden acrylics, and these are better. You can use the cheaper ones, and I'm even going to use them probably in this because I don't have all the colors, but the better stuff that you buy in the tubes or at the actual art stores or craft stores is a higher quality and is worth it if you're going to be doing any amount of this to buy them. So, and ultimately I will replace all of these craft store ones with the higher quality paints. But I digress. Get right into it. So I look at this and I say, okay, this looks pretty close to the raw sienna. So I'll take a little bit of my raw sienna and I'll put that on a plate. And, well, I'll just start right away and just see, okay, how does this look? Take a little tiny bit and put that on there. That's kind of close. It looks a little too orange. It looks a little too orange. See, I put it on there to test the color and I just wipe it off. And so it looks a little too orange with the raw sienna. So I'll put a few colors on the plate here to see if I have anything that... the burnt sienna looks kind of reddish. Burnt umber is a pretty good color to mess around with. And I'll put a drop of, where'd it go again? Raw umber. Some raw umber on here. Okay, I'm going to try blending. So I'll take these paints and I'll take a little bit of this. This is the raw sienna, I think. Which one was that? Yeah, the raw sienna. And I'm going to try blending just a tiny bit of the burnt umber, raw umber. This is the raw umber. Really just doing this by feel, kind of, as when you're in practice here doing it. So that's, I'm just trying to get the color here to get started. This takes a few minutes. That's actually very, very close for this light color here. Put some more of the darker, ooh, that was maybe a bit much. Let me see how this looks. Oh, that's perfect for that color there. So I'm going to go ahead and start working with this. And so I want to blend across here with this. And it's very carefully trying to do this. I'm going to try to make it look as realistic as possible. It's harder to go over as a very dark line like that, but eventually I will get it. And then I have, always have a little water. Just throw a little water on the plate to keep everything from drying out. Too much water. Okay. Well, this is obviously taking too long. This is too slow for a video. I actually have finished this already, and it took me over an hour to complete this area. So obviously that's not good for a video. But there's a couple of things I want to tell you before I show you the completed thing here. And I want to show you a couple of tricks. I want to show you more about how I blend the paints and a little bit more of one or two brush techniques. So first of all, when I'm blending the paints, you know, I'll take whatever I think the primary color is, in this case the raw sienna, and I'll put a blob of it someplace. And then I've got my raw umber. I was using a lot of that, and I mix that in there, and I get somewhere in the ballpark. All right, so then I'll test it. I'll take my tiny brush here, and I'll put some on here and say, okay, well that actually looks quite good. But that looks good only for the one spot, because across this wood, I mean, there's a whole gradient of color. It's not, this is brown and this is, you know, orange and this is yellow ochre and this is, no, you know, there's like a gradient across there. So we need a gradient of colors to have it look realistic. And so one of the things, I got some on my thumb, one of the things that I'll do is, all right, so I've got that, but it's perfect for this spot, but it's too dark or light for another spot. So say it's too dark, I'll put a little bit of white in here, and I'll mix it, but I'll purposely not mix it very well. I'll leave a lot of white on one side and a lot of the dark on the other side. And then when I come in, I can pull from different parts of this a puddle, I'll call it. So if I'm trying to match a lighter area, I'll pull from the lighter side, and I'll put a test piece down. Okay, that's too bright for anything on here. So then I move over across the puddle towards the dark side, and I'll do a test there. All right, that matches some areas of it. And then it's not just the tone, the lightness, darkness, the color actually varies across in different gradients and like that. So I'll have the light, and then I'll have, for example, there's a lot of, you know, I call it red, and it is a red, but it's very subtle. It's subtle to see that it's a red, but it is. In order to make it match, you have to add something reddish, and in this case, it's the burnt sienna. Yes, the burnt sienna is kind of a red color. So I'll take some red, and I'll put that across another part of my puddle. And that was a little much, but another toothpick and kind of blend it across there. Now I've got a gradient of red. It's a very thin little puddle of it, but it's a gradient of red. With some water on here again. And I can't emphasize enough how important it is to use the water. So anyway, like I was saying, first of all, my color, wet hand now. So I'll test the colors, and now it's probably hard to see in the camera, but I can see, you know, now with adding that raw sienna, I'm getting a much better color match in some areas. So like I said, you need a lot of different colors. And then, I'll wipe my hand off. So, and then, like I was saying with the water, first of all, this paint dries out fairly quickly. But regardless of that, as I start to get close and really want to blend things in, I want thin layers of paint. And I get the thin layers by wetting the brush and then picking up a little paint with the wet brush. Now it's a very thin mix of paint. As I put it on, it's more of a transparent color than a solid opaque color. It's more transparent or translucent. So I can blend across colors that way by using the water. And then, of course, like I said, the water keeps the paint from drying out. You have to add water once in a while because this does take some time. So then one other thing I wanted to mention is I'll put some color on, and okay, I'm painting away here. And another way that I'll use to kind of blend things across is sometimes I'll just take my finger and I'll just kind of rub across there. And that'll be a way to kind of help blend it across. And another thing that I've done sometimes when I'm really getting into the fine blending, I just need just a tiny bit. I'll take my wet brush and I'll pick up a little paint and I'll just put a few dots on here. And I can't quite blend that across accurately and effectively just by rubbing my finger across sometimes. And I'll take another brush, a dry brush, and I'll kind of push that paint around with the dry brush, and that gives me more control yet than I would with rubbing my hand across there sometimes. And then the last thing I wanted to mention about techniques and being able to actually get this so it works is when I start out, and I've done this many times, I'll start out and I usually have a hard time getting the colors to match, and it takes a while for my eyes to get accustomed to this particular color palette, and for my to get the palette of paint and match, and kind of you get a feel for it after you work with it for 20 minutes or so. You start to say, oh yeah, now you're not guessing as to which paints you need. You know, after you've done it a few times, I need I need more yellow in there, and it goes more quickly, and it gets easier after you've done it for a while. Okay, so anyway, I did finish this a day or so ago and came back to it after I started editing. I wanted to give you this extra information, and this is how it turned out. I'm really happy with this. Yeah, it looks terrific. Nobody will ever notice this. And I've used this techniques on pieces. I've put them in shows where they've been judged. Judges, critically examining over the whatever it is, the piece, and they don't notice it. It's just you can blend it in after you've done some practice, and it's a fantastic technique to have in your toolbox. So anyway. I hope you like this. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions about this, please let me know, and I'll do my best to help out and answer them. And thanks for watching.